How do you experience truth? Some revelation that comes to you, an epiphany that you feel, something heartfelt. How do you know the truth? When it's clear, crystal clear? What's crystal clear? So there's no doubt sometimes the truth needs to be so emphatic. Just as, I banged my fist on the table, and I felt it, I heard it, I experienced it. So likewise, truth needs to be so obvious and so crystal clear. However, real ultimate truth will be experienced as a paradox. Two opposites that come together. That is a much more profound and deeper truth. And that there could be a great clarity in the two opposites on how they come together. Usually we think, oh, black and white, obviously focused this way and not that way. That way and not this way. True clarity. But two opposites that are opposite feelings, opposite ideas, and that they come together and that there's a clarity in that. Ooh. For that you need Hasidic teachings. For that you need Tanya. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We conclude today the 34th chapter, which in this comes a conclusion, shall we say, the first book of lessons in Tanya. But more importantly, we come to a conclusion. The first 8 chapters of Tanya gave us an understanding of who we are. A godly soul, animal soul. Very important to know that, because whenever a thought, speech, or an action comes about, you need to know, where is it coming from within me? Is it coming from a good place or not? Know thyself. Both. The good, the bad. And sometimes it's ugly. And then we learn chapters, And then chapters 9 through 17 taught us about how we stand as a human. Human is, the mind is on top, it has dominion over the heart, and therefore what we know and are aware of God and God's truth affects our hearts, at least a knowing heart, that we are a knowing heart, that our intellectual love, that we have the realness of God in our lives. Then chapters 18 through 25 dealt with the natural love that we have, Ava Misteris, the hidden love, that's part of the soul, part of the divine soul. It's not something we have to create through our awareness of God within creation, but it's something that's already there. We just have to access it. And through that, we will always want to be connected to God and not disconnected from Him. And then we started this 4th section, if you will, of Tanya, which is dealing with joy and the things in life that bring us down. Chapters 26 6. So that was 18 through 25, then chapters 26 now through 34. Speaking about various levels of joy. The only way you can serve God properly is with joy. We spoke about joy of dealing with our stuff and fixing what we need to fix with a deeper identity that we have with the divine soul, extricating it from its imprisonment as a prince is in jail, and when he gets released from prison, what great joy it brings not just to the prince but to the father, the king himself, and the various things that we dealt with. Yet at the same time we also dealt with, and if you recall chapters 29 and 30, the dullness of the heart that a person might have and how to crush the negative spirit within. And we said that crushing that negativity within was necessary in order to allow the joy to emerge. Because if you don't get yourself out of a bad place, you're not going to put yourself into a good space. Because you're always going to be dragged down. So if you have a dullness of heart, you need to deal with that. If you don't have the sense of connectivity to God, to the divine, because, the things that bring us down. So sometimes we need to crush that huge log of a body and animal soul that the fire will not consume it. The fiery passion that we have of our divine soul will not be able to consume it because it's just weighing too heavily upon us. So we got to chop up the wood in order to put pieces of wood into a fire that will be consumed. Sometimes we have to chop up and crush our negativity from within. Our negativity, not someone else's negativity, right? We need to do that. Well, to do that, is important. But as we learned previously, that was important because from the bad space you can now get into good place. That's bad place, you can now get into good space. That good space is joy. It comes after dealing with that. That's how we've learned till now. In conclusion of chapter 34, the Alter Rebbe says, you can actually entertain, shall we say, in your heart, two feelings at the same time that are contradictory feelings. One is being brokenhearted, humble of spirit, and at the same time having true joy. Well, that's, by the way, called a paradox. And now we're coming to a deeper truth. This paradox we did not have till now. Till now we had one or the other. From one, you come to the other. From the negativity that you will have in dealing with it, you have to come then to joy and live with joy. As we learn, the only way that you can be in the presence of God is if you have strength and joy and gladness of heart. Yet, says now the Alter Rebbe, both things can be in your spirit, in your heart at the same time. Feeling a broken heart, humble spirit, and joy at the same time. Why? How's that possible? It's because they're coming from two different places. The humble of spirit is feeling the loneliness of your body and your animal soul. Now there's feeling it's, it's negativity. It's not the, be very careful over here when we speak about the body and the negativity of the body. And the crushing of it, which was the metaphor that we gave, we mean its character quality, not the body, the physical body, right? We're talking about the character quality of the body. The body is a comfort creature, a pleasure-seeking, individual. That's what the body and the animal soul tempts us to do. And that needs to be humbled. That spirit needs to be humbled. And that humbling is, for the righteous, they've transformed it and they don't need to humble it anymore. It's been humbled. But for me and for all of us that are not even Beinoni, or Beinoni in training, a BIT, well, we need to humble that spirit at all times because that spirit is still within me. Even if I identify with my godly soul and I work on just extricating my godly soul by Torah and mitzvahs, total engagement and so on and so forth, as we've learned till now. But that spirit within me is still there. So it needs to be humbled with a broken heart. But that is prompted by an awareness of the loneliness of the body and the animal's soul. So where's the joy? Well, the joy is for a different reason, not for that. My joy is because of the divine soul, that I have a piece of God in me that's animating me, that God gave me. I didn't create it. God gave that to me. And for that, I'm joyful. So in other words, some people might look at this as, oh, you're a split personality. You're only a split personality if you give credence to both personalities. If you give value to both personalities. So then you're a split personality. But if you are humbling your negative side and joyful because of your godly side, then you're not a split personality. And then you're healthy. You actually are an extremely healthy person if you come to this level. If you come to this level. Having both sentiments, both feelings at the same time. We find a similar statement like this in the Zohar. When Rabbi Lazar learned from his father, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, right, the Rashbi, he taught him about the greatness of the Holy Temple and the enormity of the tragedy of its destruction. So on the one hand, he was filled with joy because he had Torah teachings that were like extremely profound and like exalting to the soul. But at the same time, he felt, as a result of that, the enormity of its destruction. And that was paining. That pained. In other words, he had two opposite emotions that were coming, stemming from separate causes. And so one side of the heart, he was filled with joy in the awareness of, wow, the holiness of the home of God. And on the other side of the heart, he had great pain because of its destruction. Both things are absolutely true at the same time. Not one is true one moment, another one's true another moment. They're both true at the same time. And the same thing with us. Two things that are very true at the same time. Two opposite feelings. The feeling of, I've got a part in me that I humble, that I have a contrite heart, a broken heart even, my body and animal soul, and its agenda that just wants to, make me into, an animalistic kind of individual, just seeking pleasure only, just for pleasure's sake, seeking comfort for comfort's sake. And at the same time, I have within me something divine, a piece of God, and that I take joy in. And have both feelings, sentiments at the same time. So truth comes in paradoxes, the ultimate truths. Two opposites coming together. Why is that so true? As opposed to Either just work on yourself and have the humbling, focus on that, or then focus on the joy. Why both at the same time? Because ultimate truth, God is the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth means that there's nothing outside of God. So therefore, if there's something outside of me in truth, or something that I'm not incorporating, then it's not ultimate truth. It might be a partial truth, but not ultimate truth. Here, I'm incorporating every aspect of my being. My animal soul, my body, and my godly soul. At the same time, experiencing, feeling, aware of all of it, even though they produce two complete opposite emotions. So to be able to live that way, amazing. It's not clear. Any questions? Davida is with us. Liba is with us. Susanna from Miami. Zelixon's from New York. We have David from Sacramento, California with us. We have Zara in Malaysia. Sarah in New York State. Mordechai in Massachusetts. John in North Carolina. Janice in, forget now. Diane in Pennsylvania. Deborah Hanna, that is. June in Australia. Lorraine is, you have to remind me, Lorraine, Pennsylvania, if I recall. Nancy is with us. Who else is joining us? Julia in Pennsylvania. Carrie in Missouri. Vincent in Alberta. Yes.
So you said that...
And we have Ariel Shlomo here in Montreal.
So you said that at the same time, if like when the temple is being destroyed, the godly soul could still feel joy, and the animal soul could still feel like.
No, why is it no? I didn't say that. I didn't make it part of the animal soul.
Well, you could feel joy and at the same time
pain. Of the destruction. Why is that the animal soul that's feeling it?
Okay, that was my question actually. Right. Was it if the godly? So
no, godly it just means two different emotions at the same time. It's a similar idea, right? Two opposite emotions, but it doesn't mean it's from the animal soul. Okay. It wouldn't be from the animal soul.
Okay.
Right.
So the godly soul.
I mean, the animal soul might feel the pain it might feel the pain. Oh, I'm missing out on the pleasure of, so it could be, it's possible.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's what it means here.
But the godly soul can also feel pain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pain of disconnect.
Okay.
And that's what destruction of the Holy Temple is, a disconnect of godliness from the world. Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Correct. Correctement. Jeff has a question. How can you have two opposite emotions and not give credence? And not give credence to both? You are giving credence to both. Not clear what you mean, Jeff. If you acknowledging the animal soul, then are you not feeling that? Yeah, Jeff, we're not righteous. Righteous, they've transformed their animal soul. So are we feeling that my animal soul wants pleasure? Of course we're feeling that because we didn't transform our feelings of the animal soul. We're aware of that. That's what our animal soul wants. Even for the Beinoni, the pleasure of something does come to the mind of the Beinoni, that they, that looks pleasurable. Let me partake in that. But the thought will come there, but he won't entertain the thought. Will push away that thought, the Beinoni. So, we're aware that this is the nature of our animal soul, right? My animal soul, I know, some people like sweets. Their animal soul likes sweets. Other people like, sweet and sour, or eggplant that's bitter, but then has been seasoned, and now it's something that I have pleasure of. So we're aware that this is the animal soul's desire, absolutely. So it's not giving credence to the animal soul. It's an awareness of the animal soul, and that's important to be aware of. I hope I understood what your question was, Jeff, clearly. I hope I answered it. Let me know if I did. Instagrammers we have with us, Santa de la Venta, Coy in Peru. We have David. We have Carlos, South America, Marlene in Florida, Rachel in South Carolina. Luz, I'm not sure I got that right. Some others Brett, at what stage of cognitive development is this journey possible? Good question, Brett. On some level, it's possible today because, you and many others have been learning Tanya for a while. It's possible. It's not going to be so real for us until, we've done everything till the end of chapter 34 and developed on that path. So it's not going to be so real that we're going to be able to truly sense both things. But, I think this kind of resonates with all of us. And if it resonates with you and you see the truth in it, you sense the truth in the teachings, that means you have the cognitive development at this point to adopt some of this into our lives today. So if we're having a difficulty with this and it doesn't resonate with us, then, we got to go over the previous chapters and go step by step till we come to a point where we actually get this. Yes, this makes sense. And if it makes sense, and therefore I could, then bring this into actualizing it by, at times thinking about the negativity within me, humbling it, and at the same time, the positive, the divine within me, and focusing on that and having great joy. So yeah, I think, if we get it, we could be now there, somewhat there. John, does the animal soul say Amen once it has been complicit in the performance of a mitzvah? Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's complicit, let's think about it for a moment. When you took your legs and you walked to synagogue, you took your legs, you walked into, the hospital to visit a sick person, right? So your legs, by its own nature, wants comfort, wants pleasure, right? That's what it wants. Your legs, they want to sit, they want to relax, they want to lean back on the recliner, right? That's your whole body wants it, right? Your whole body wants that, right? And when you don't give into it and you are now learning Tanya or doing some mitzvah, so that your body's engaged in it, in that sense it's saying Amen. Right? In that sense it's saying Amen, meaning it's along for the ride. It's part of the journey. And it is being elevated. We learned that. Actually, that will be in tomorrow's class. We're going to start more about that. Actually, yeah. We'll wait for that. We'll get a little greater clarity in forthcoming classes. Okay, Jeff, this chapter makes me reflect on how so many people in this world are looking for pleasure. Their lives are defined by it. People shift like the blowing of the wind, right? You're right. I mean, we all have that part in us, right? Yeah, the Tanya makes us to focus on the divine, exactly, and yeah, well said. Thank you. Don't forget, adopt a hostage, do a mitzvah. All right, folks, amazing. Okay, Rambam coming up. Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kedoshim, Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have an amazing, great day. Thank you for joining.